Bonjour, my name is David DeVere. I'm a wine educator and traveler, and you're watching Savvy Nomad TV, the eau de vie edition. This is the Costco Wine Advent Box. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Today is day 13. The box is noticeably lighter. 13, right here. Seriously, come on. Okay. Oh, day 13 is being difficult. Red cap, red wine. I'm right. Tempranillo from Spain. So far this month, I've talked a bunch about how the Europeans label and name their wines. The Spanish are no different, and in the Navarre region in Spain, they grow some of, no, I'm just going to say it, the best Tempranillos anywhere in the world. Now, those Tempranillos do not say Tempranillo on the bottle. They say Crianza, Reserva, Grand Reserva, and they all say Rioja, named after the region. Now, the Rioja region is broken up into high, low, and regular Rioja, and the Rioja region lives inside of the province or the old historic kingdom of Navarre. They do the best Tempranillos there. And why are they the best? Because Tempranillo is not a particularly well-traveling grape. It expresses itself best in the Rioja region, in Navarre. In other parts of the world, it doesn't do as well, although I think they're making some inroads in Texas growing Tempranillo. You can find Tempranillo being grown in Portugal, and you can find it being grown in other parts of Spain. This just says Tempranillo Spain on it, so probably I'm going to just go on the, not really very much of a limb. I'm just going to say this is not from Rioja, because if it was, they would probably want to advertise it. But since it's just Tempranillo and just Spain, it's probably not from there. Now, Navarre, which is the Rioja region, is in the old kingdom of Navarre. Navarre used to be owned by the French kings. They got it through marriage and held on to it all the way up until the period. Anyway, Navarre, because of its proximity to the mountains and to Bordeaux, had a lot, and because the French kings owned it, they had a lot of interaction with winemakers in France. And that interaction led to the Spanish in Rioja using barrels to age their wines. So the difference in the three different types of Riojas are Crianza, which is the least amount of time in oak, Reserva, which is the medium amount of time in oak, it's oak and in the bottle, and then Grand Reserva, which is only declared when the winemakers believe they have had an exceptional year, then they'll declare a Grand Reserva. And that is the most amount of time in oak and the most amount of time in barrels. I believe it's Crianza less than 2, Reserva more than 2, less than 4, and then Grand Reserva more than that. And then there's a limitation for how much time in the bottle also. I'll put all those right here. Okay, so that's what Tempranillo is. Let's crack into this and see what this generic Spanish Tempranillo is going to taste like. Tempranillos, Crianzas, are tannic. They are kind of aggressive on their tannins. They're lighter and less saturated in flavor. You would probably have a little bit of flavor of licorice, maybe some red fruits, something like raspberries. They're going to be quite soft on their flavor. They're not going to be big and saturated, but they will be kind of tannic. Now you go to a Reserva and all of a sudden it starts to mature. That oak starts to work in there. There's more vanilla tones and there's more meaty tones, maybe even a little bit of leather. Grand Reservas can be quite saturated in flavor. They're very good wines, and good examples of Grand Reservas sell for easily over $50 a bottle. Riojas can be purchased for less than $15 a bottle. Sorry, that would be a Crianza. Okay, so I've filled out the top of my tasting card, day 13, so I need a whole new card. We've got 2 cards down. Let's check the temp. It's going to be fine. I've got 56 degrees, a little bit cool. Interesting little story here about temperature. When I was a kid, I Eurailed around with my cousin. A kid. I was 18 years old. I guess that's a kid. And we graduated from high school and we went Eurailing. We spent a month traveling the trains and being kind of backpacker bums in Europe. One of the places we ran across was Pamplona, which is the capital of Navarre. And in Pamplona at the time, they were running with the bulls. Yes, the famous running with the bulls. And it's a week-long festival in Pamplona. And it goes 24 hours a day all week. At least it did 30 plus years ago. Anyway, you could buy shots of really, really bad Tempranillo really, really cheap. And they served it super, super, super cold. And you just shot it and off you went back onto the dance floor. Of course, in the morning at 8 o'clock, you're going to run with the bulls. So you might as well live for today because tomorrow is not guaranteed. Interesting, odd life lesson there. Okay, when I ran with the bulls, nobody got hurt, nobody died. But it happens. So let's look at a color of our Rioja. Sorry, Tempranillo. It's actually darker than I thought it would be. So we've got red and deep color. Okay, let's see what we can smell. There's a layer of cherry in there. Maybe a little blackberry, slightly sweet. Oh, the aroma is very nice. Red wines, less expressive. White wines, more expressive. So if you get aromas out of red wines, give them a better score. So cherry. And I'll give it an 8 for aroma. I think it smells pretty good. Okay. Let's taste it. Dry or sweet? It's dry. It has a medium body. That acidity is very nice. It's crisp. It's bright. My mouth is instantly salivating. This is a nicely made wine. I'm going to give it an 8 for acidity. Balance is good. This is easy to grade well-made wines. The balance is good because that acidity is bright sitting on my mouth. The tannins are actually pretty smooth here, and the sugars are nicely done. They're not overly presentable, and there was no alcohol burn. Good balance. I'm going to give it, is it a 9 balance? Perfect harmony with variety and style. I'm feeling generous. It's the holidays. 9. Why not? Now, complexity. If your wine is warmer than my wine, it might be showing differently. What would you show with a warmer wine? It would be maybe more alcohol burn, and it would maybe be slightly more aromatic. 60 degrees, 55 degrees, that's what you want to drink, pretty much everything. Okay, complexity. There is a layer of fruit in complexity. The wine is slightly watery in its finish, but there's a little layer of fruit. It could be a little bit bolder and rounder for a great complexity score. I'll give it a 6. Finish and length. The finish is kind of medium. It's not very long. I'll go long, but it's not very long. It's nice, it's clean, it doesn't add any yucky flavors in my mouth. There's no metallic tones. It goes on, but it doesn't really add any extra flavors in my mouth either. So a nice, long, flavorful finish would be a 10. This is a medium, somewhat non-flavorful finish. It's kind of clean and a little bit watery and refreshing. So I'll give it a 7. All right, I'm surprised. Let's go do my math. All right, here are my final scores for our Spanish Tempranillo. Aroma 8, acidity 8, balance 9, complexity 6, finish and length 7. That's 38 points. Add that to 50, you've got 88 points. That is a respectable score even for a branded Crianza. The Riojas at the lower price points, the Crianzas generally are $15 and less. A few years ago, Sarah and I lived on a sailboat in Seattle, and we used to go to our local Costco, and I would buy cases and cases of cheap Crianzas. I think they were $4.99 a bottle. I don't know if you can even find those anymore, but they were great value wines. And I'd take them and I'd put them down in the bilge well under the waterline, and the Pacific Ocean kept those Crianzas a perfect 54 degrees. When we moved north into Victoria, I was buying wine from the British Columbia liquor store, the BC Liquor, and they had good party bottles of Rioja for $15 Canadian, and that was a great deal. So we drank a lot of Rioja while living on that boat. These wines are still good values and worth your attention. Crianzas at under 20, Reservas under 30, and Grand Reservas under 50 are all worth a second look. Okay, that's all I've got for you today. If you've enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. What score did you give this Tempranillo from Spain? Let me know in the comments. And until tomorrow, until day 14, I say a tutelare and cheers.
Hello. Tempranillo. Dark. Fruity. Something a little bit chocolatey, or I'm not sure underneath. Let me taste. Lots of tannins, lots of flavor. That's pretty good. Cheers.